When planning, pre-production and making a film, the target audience must be addressed in order to go ahead with the production. Things such as conventions, sexual reference and age restrictions must be taken into place when thinking about target audience. For example, if our film has lots of blood, violence and drug use in it, it would not be appropriate to aim our film at 12-year-olds. Furthermore, we certainly wouldn't get the licence to screen it to 12-year-olds, and it would most likely be a 15 or an 18. Less and less films has a certificate 18 anymore, because the horror and gore included isn't enough to give it an 18. It needs to include conventions like sexual violence or what Saw is famous for, torture porn, which will not be included in virulence. Therefore, the most likely certificate our film will get will be a 15. However, in my view and from personal experience, going to see a horror film that's a 15 takes away the excitement of going to see a film of this genre. In my view, when thinking about target audience, I don't take into account age or restrictions. It's more to do with genre conventions and personal preference. Our film, Virulence, is a zombie horror film. Therefore, we're aiming it at people who like to watch horror films. However, the likelihood is that young children aren't going to want to watch this film because their parents may not deem it appropriate and they may even find it too scary. Horror doesn't tend to be a mainstream genre. For example, when looking through the top films from each year, 95 onwards, horror is one of the only genres not to be included in an array of different genres, including sci-fi, superhero, action, thriller, adventure, etc. Therefore, this proves that the market for horror films is smaller than others such as action and adventure. This has its positives and negatives. As a negative, this could have a considerable effect on ticket sales, as people might rather see a more light-hearted film. However, the die-hard horror fans may be drawn to this film, as the industry may have a lack of horror films for people to see. To back up these claims, evidence says that horror films are placed at 7 out of 10 for gross profit, only beating documentary, musical and black comedy. When doing some research, I found some statistics relating to audience consumption. 18 to 24-year-olds make up 37% of horror movie watchers. This links well to my primary research because 50% of the people who said they'd watch a horror film were 18 plus. This brings me to the end of my points and helps me conclude that my target audience is 15 plus males.